Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes, I don't like that. You're 100% right.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It is Friday, June 14th. We are live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. I'm here with Stephanie, Tori, Brandon, and I'm Sam. Let's get started. New surveillance video is shedding light on the Cuba Gooding Jr. alleged groping case. Cuba turned himself into police and pleaded not guilty to charges of forcible touching yesterday. He's accused of groping a woman at a bar in New York City. TMZ obtained surveillance video. You can see his accuser is highlighted by the red arrow. He then appears to be reaching over his girlfriend and touching the woman sitting next to her. First her leg, and then he moves his hand up towards her chest. The woman then appears to grab his hand, push it back, but his lawyer says the video will actually help clear Cuba of any wrongdoing. Here's what he said on GMA.
When I viewed the video and spoke to actual eyewitnesses, it was very clear and apparent that the lady who made these false charges was stalking Mr. Gooding.
A second accuser has come forward saying she was groped by the Oscar-winning actor. She says it happened more than 10 years ago at a restaurant in New York. Tori, as our legal eagle here, the video, in my opinion, is pretty self-explanatory. Now, I know we've all kind of normalized that type of behavior because we're all so used to it, at least as females. But why is Cuba so confident that that video will clear him?
Unless there was some kind of consensual conversation in which they were asking for it, or he can prove that maybe there was some kind of consent. To me, the video looks like it does, I think, to most people. He put his hand on her, he went up, she said no, and that's not right. That's illegal. You can't do that. So I think the video, when we see the violence or the groping isn't new, the cameras are new. And that's when we're getting people, they're speaking out.
But I understand people are speaking out, and I don't condone this behavior at all, but I've been groped a lot worse than that. So do you really think that they're is he gonna do time, do you think?
He'll probably have community service or some fine. Yeah, I think it goes with levels of egregiousness, right?
Yeah.
We all know this wasn't a Harvey Weinstein, but it shouldn't be accepted because it's not as bad.
Yeah.
That's not okay either.
Yeah,
right?
what's egregious to you may be more egregious to someone else.
So everyone has their own levels of boundaries and what they are and aren't comfortable with. And what we all need to remember is just because you or we in one situation might feel okay with maybe putting your hand on someone, it doesn't mean that they are.
Well said.
What I find a little confusing, and I'm not saying I don't believe her, but she clearly has some form of relationship with him. She goes straight up to them. She seems very comfortable sitting down. So, I mean, for me, I wonder, you know, why has she brought this up? If I'm not saying I don't agree with her, I'm not saying she wasn't comfortable, but it looks as though there is definitely some form of other relationship
And I think that's where this becomes a really great nuanced conversation.
Right.
Because then we can really talk about boundaries, right? I could even maybe lean in and kiss Cuba.
Right.
And maybe something started between the two of us. And then at any point, I can say I'm not comfortable. So if someone is a fan of that person, it doesn't warrant consent.
Yep.
So I think that's where the conversation becomes a little bit more complicated. And I love that we can have these conversations on that show. So thank you for that. Today we are getting new information on the Memphis man who was shot and killed by U.S. Marshals. There's still a lot of upset and unrest in Memphis right now on both sides over the killing of 20-year-old Brandon Weber. We reported the news yesterday that his death sparked riots across Memphis. Police say earlier this month, Weber stole a car from a man and shot him 5 times. Wednesday night, when U.S. Marshals tried to approach Weber in that car, he allegedly tried to ram their vehicle, and that's when officials say he pulled out an assault rifle. The officers then opened fire, killing him. We're also hearing that Weber's girlfriend may have gone into labor during the riots, protesting his death. And today, his family and even his former principal say the Brandon they know wouldn't be capable of these violent crimes. So there you have it. No matter what details come out, you still have upset and unrest in this community. And I think that's why our conversation struck a chord yesterday. And that's why I hope that you all chime in and we continue the conversation, because you still have a community that feels marginalized. You still have a community that has a distrust in police. And by us having that conversation doesn't make you or us anti-police. And it's not to say that there's police officers out there who feel unfairly portrayed because some of the bad apples that have completely tarnished their reputations. So I think the more that we can have, as we said yesterday, duality of thought and look at both sides, we can actually, hopefully, spark dialogue and improve on this situation that continues to happen over and over and over again.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to tell the people of that community, or and even people of the black community sometimes, to sit back and wait for duality of thought, because I mean, there's a when they see us type attitude that's going on sometimes when it comes to how law enforcement sees black people or black people in their community. So I look at it as a situation. I kind of digress from going after some people who wanted to go after you on Twitter yesterday because they felt you were anti-police, and it wasn't
see a lot of that. Let's be careful about that conversation.
No, I understand that, but I saw some.
I know, but I'm actually really encouraged by the reaction, and I'm glad that you wanted to provide a voice for me, and I appreciate that. But I'm really encouraged by the conversation that I saw happen on social media yesterday. I saw 99% positive commentary. Whether somebody disagreed or didn't agree, I saw actual thoughtful dialogue, and I actually learned a lot from the black community about how disenfranchised they really feel and how appreciative they were that we're having this conversation. So,
but when I say that, I just wanted to make sure everyone, 100% of the people who commented, got and understood your narrative because your heart was in the right place.
Thank you.
That's what I meant.
I just want all of us to talk. And I don't want all of us to so quickly be branded one thing and not the other thing and picking sides. Let's just have a conversation.
For sure.
And let's have empathy and let's do better. That was the goal yesterday, and that's the goal today. But this show is about you, so please write in. Tell us how you're feeling. If you're in Memphis right now, we want to hear from you now more than ever, and let's really, really, really spark this conversation.
For sure.
All right, let's move on. We want to wish President Trump a happy birthday today. He turned 73 years old, and yesterday the president had a very special guest at the White House. Kim Kardashian was there to promote a new program that helps people leaving prison get jobs and stay on track. Take a look.
I'm so happy to announce today that we have a ride-share partnership where formerly incarcerated people will be gifted gift cards so that they can get rides to and from job interviews, to and from jobs, family members, and that is so important, so needed.
I love what Kim Kardashian's doing. I think, you know, we're seeing a completely different side of her, and I know we've also before, we think this is her like start into the world of politics too. I think she's got a long-term plan. But whether you love her, whether you hate her, she's doing such wonderful things, and I think her going to the White House, this is now the several times she's been there, and she's really putting her money where her mouth is. So many times we see celebrities say they're going to do something, they're going to make a change, they're going to you know, they don't follow through. And Kim Kardashian's really doing that. She's following her father's footsteps. And I think she was clearly very nervous here.
You can tell,
you can tell she's nervous. It's endearing.
It is endearing.
But she's really trying.
Yeah, so it's combined with Lyft, and Lyft is doing this, and you get basically a ride home if you're from jail and you can't go anywhere, or to a job interview, right? It's smart, it's thoughtful, it's bipartisan, it's her father. She sounded lower, her cadence was slower. She needs a little work, but I thought she sounded great.
I agree, but let me ask you this. Let me throw this into the ring because we are getting a lot of comments. Can we take, and I can, but do you think the public will be able to see Kim Kardashian as her new role, even though she's already walked the walk, well said, considering that she is still trying to be the branded Kim Kardashian on her social, right? So you're still seeing those very provocative images, which again, I have no problem with, but do you think that will tarnish her ability to create reform?
I don't, and the reason is I hypothesize that this new era we're in combines pop culture and politics so perfectly that you can do both, and you actually need both.
You don't have to, they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
You cannot, it's actually better if they're not.
That's
so you
cool.
get two sides. You know, the Kylie Jenner.
We'll see other people following in her footsteps. I think it's going to encourage
and we'll have to wait and see,
others.
right? Yep. If that's your hypothesis, we'll have to wait and see. But I hope you're right. What was that?
I don't know.
Got it. We have to give a big DBL shout out to the Toronto Raptors. They won the NBA championship last night against the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. It was a nail-biter, but the Raptors pulled it out for their first championship ever. One of their biggest ambassadors, rapper Drake, who was not at last night's game, is celebrating his team's win. He posted this to Instagram, teasing 2 new tracks, which he said are dropping today. Way to make it about you.
What do you mean?
Way to make it about you.
Us. Two new Drake songs. Two new Drake songs.
We're talking
Oh my
about
gosh, it's
Raptors, not
Christmas.
talking about Drake.
It is Christmas, but look, in all seriousness, I think this finals is the reason why we need to make sure our kids play competitive sports, because we saw a story of two stories of adversity. Last year, Klay Thompson won the NBA Finals with the Golden State Warriors. This year, he tears his ACL in the finals.
Terrible.
Last year, Kawhi Leonard sits out an entire season because of injuries. People are bashing him. He goes to Toronto this year, brings them their first NBA Finals. Adversity.
Triumph.
1 second you're up, 1 second you're down.
You know why I think they won?
Good point.
You know why I think they won? Because Drake wasn't there giving it all this, and it wasn't all about him. He's not running up to the players. He's not
no,
He's a
massaging.
distraction, according to
He's
Stephanie.
a distraction. He stayed at home. Thank God. Well done for your team, because otherwise you would have lost. Because it's all about Drake.
Well, they do say there's a Drake curse.
Yes, and
Yeah,
this
so
might
he
have
should
been
stay at
broken.
home.
Wait.
He is a walking jazz hand. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
stay at home.
Haterade makes tea? I didn't know that.
But apparently, like, him not turning up gets them to win. So if he's that good of a mascot, he's obviously not doing his
She
job.
said turning him up.
2 new Drakes? I said turning up. You've been hanging out with Sam, huh?
All right. DBL's Live will bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Coming up, a big congrats to Missy Elliott. The huge honor, the hip-hop icon, was just given, and you, the viewer, are our 5th host. We want to weigh in. We want you to weigh in on Sarah Sanders' time as White House press secretary following the announcement that she's leaving. How do you think she did? Your comments coming up next.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Happy Friday. We did it. We made it to Friday. That's great news. That's all I got to tell you. Let's go to the desk and see what's going on. Hey, guys. What's happening up here, Tor?
You're amazing. We're probably not going to fix it before 11 o'clock. Because it means bringing the whole switcher down.
So we are having a little technical difficulties we're talking about. Yeah, Tori's ready to talk some comments.
So a lot of you guys writing in, if you want to see some behind the scenes, so this, just so you guys see, is usually a picture so we can see ourselves, and for someone like me, that's super important. No, but it's switched to the teleprompter, and it's like kind of blowing our minds. So it's like you're used to seeing the same thing every day, and then someone just like switches it. It's very weird. But you guys are writing in. Kelly, you look very pretty today. We love her hair. That's very true. Tony Godin, only American women have a problem with being touched. Go to France or even Canada. Wow, so cold. Next, we won't even be able to give a hug. So I would just respond with 2 things. In Europe, there's more kissing, there's more touching. Men often hold the back of the neck of their woman. There's just different cultural, right? I don't think human being would like it without being consented to. I can't imagine anyone's comfortable with being groped without being consented to. And as you saw, she pushed that hand back. If you watch it carefully, she takes the hand off what it looks like the breast and pushes it back. I don't think that's a French woman thing, an American woman thing, a Chinese woman thing. I think that's a human being thing. And it's like, yo, get out of my space. So I would argue and debate back to you that in fact is culturally, yeah, there might be more touching, but that doesn't mean anyone particularly wants to be groped by someone without their permission. Now, as for like men who are like, I can't even give a hug. Yeah, you can. Like, be a guy, be normal. Just don't punch me or pinch me on the butt or grope me without asking. You know what's appropriate. So don't be like, I can't give a hug. Yeah, you can. You can be normal. You can just be appropriate, and you can be a gentleman. That scared me so much, you guys. I thought there was a ninja behind me. Also, Pat Bowen passed away again in Denver. The Bronco fans are going crazy today. So we want to RIP for Pat Bowen, and we will give you guys more of an update on that and his story later on. But you know what? No one wants touching. French, Chinese. Is someone behind me again? Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Now that Sarah Sanders is stepping down as Trump's press secretary, the internet is flooded with comments about her time in the White House. When it was announced that she was stepping down from her role, Trump described her as a tough warrior and thanked her for a job well done. But not everyone on social media is applauding her time in the White House and as press secretary. She hasn't held a press conference in 95 days. So DBL Nation, gotta hear from you. Do you think Sarah Sanders did a good job as White House press secretary?
All right, let's get to the comments. Michelle from Facebook says, I can't stand the Trump administration, but she did a heck of a job. I don't think there are many people out there that can replace her. I think for the job that she had to do in this administration, I think she kind of did a good job, especially having to, she couldn't go against President Trump and some of his policies and what he was saying. So I know she masked a lot of stuff, but
as the people, we want to hear the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's kind of the liaison between us and the president.
Very true. Carl from Facebook, if you think lying is a great job, I will guarantee you she scored great points with that. She's one of the greatest liars of all time and a very close second to President Trump. I never want to wish anyone poorly after they leave a job, but I will say I find this woman should have a stain and a stigma, as someone else said, following her the rest of her life. Wow. She blatantly lied. She admitted lying about Comey. She said she did it. She said, I got all these emails about FBI agents happy about Comey. She then admitted none of that is true. She passed on lies continuously. If you don't do
propaganda.
It's propaganda, and it's also anti-American. So I don't wish her well.
MJ from Facebook says she did an exceptional job under the intense pressure of being the press secretary for this administration. You know what, MJ? I agree. It must be seriously difficult every single day. I understand that from Sam and Tori's points that maybe she didn't do the job to your standards or your wishes, but I can't imagine what it must be like to be under that much intense scrutiny and stress every single day.
I just don't think you would lie. I don't think you could, and if you don't feel like you can continue, I don't think you would stay.
That's the right job.
Yeah, that's the right job for you.
All right, well said. Let's get Bill in. Bill from Facebook says she covered up too much for me to respect her. So I think you're echoing many people's sentiments. Let's get to the next comment.
Yeah, Aggie from Facebook says, absolutely, especially how she handled the news media. Just another thankless job. I mean, people are going to feel whatever way they feel about her, but at the end of the day, I think people are going to start judging her now that she's outside of the Trump administration, to see what she's really like.
I will say this last person says it really well. Johanna says she did a good job for her boss. However, I do not believe she did good for our country.
And that's duality of thought.
That's duality. I wanted to get that in.
Thank
That's
you for bringing
smart way of saying
Yeah. All right. Thank you for writing in. We love hearing what you have to say. Missy Elliott just made music history. Raquel Villanueva has the news at the moment.
That's right, Sam. Missy Elliott just became the first female rapper inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And former First Lady Michelle Obama helped with the honors. Watch.
Thank you not just for sharing your gift with the world, but for being an advocate for so many people out there, especially young girls who are still figuring out how to make their voices heard. Congratulations.
Now, Missy is the third rapper to enter the Hall of Fame, following Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri. Now, songwriters are eligible for the Hall of Fame after writing hit songs for at least 20 years.
Thank you, Raquel. And look, today, you see how everyone's putting these female artists up against each other. Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. Back in the day, Missy brought all the female artists together with
right. Moulin Rouge.
This is ladies' night. And I feel all right.
She also did Moulin Rouge, remember?
Come on, Sam, you're going to just steal my little, it's my time to sing.
But what about her and doing Moulin Rouge with Christina Aguilera, Little Kim?
I wanted to do Ladies' Night. Ladies' Night, 3 ladies up here,
I was hoping you would give me some Moulin Rouge. Get it.
I don't even know the words to that song.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Yes!
Of course you know what that means. Yeah, of course.
Wait, what? Excuse me?
Okay, we gotta go, I'm told. Coming up on DBL, a nurse goes above and beyond to comfort her patients. The special gift she's giving to help moms who have babies in the NICU in today's Heart Threads.
A secret my dad doesn't know is he had this really cool silk red robe, and I used to walk around the house with it when he wasn't there. Yeah, that was all me, player. Sorry, Dad.
You look great.
Thanks, Rob. All right, guys, and I'm so sorry I said it incorrectly, and I'm embarrassing myself, but Pat Bowlen with an L passed away. He is the owner of the Denver Broncos and was very, very loved, very well loved. Some owners are a little bit contemptuous. He was just beyond loved, and the people of Denver are. Do you want to come on and talk about Pat Bowlen and the Broncos? Someone said you also got the ladies dancing in the chair again.
Dave might want to talk about Pat Bowlen.
Oh, come on over.
Yeah, Dave. So Dave is a huge Denver.
So how do you
sports
feel
fan.
as a Denver guy
Yeah.
with the passing of Pat Bowlen? This is our stage manager, by the way. The guy who's always like, get in your seats!
I mean, I don't think you could argue he's greatest owner in NFL history. Like
A lot of people think that. A lot of people believe that.
he's done so much for the Denver community. He had, for his first 30 seasons, he had 300 wins,
Wow.
which is 10 wins for every first 30 years, which is
Wow.
The franchise is 40 times.
He's done so
the worth, the value
Wow, he
as it
raised
was
it-
when he bought it.
Wow.
He's done so much, and he's going to be missed for sure.
Wow, and I feel-
but you know what? The Broncos ownership is in its debacle right now, so it'll just be interesting to see what happens.
All right, so guys, if you have any memories of Pat Bowlen, or if you also have any of your favorite other owners or Bronco stories, let us know. Today's a sad day for Denver, but we're saying rest in peace, Mr. Bowlen.
Welcome back to DBL. Today's Heart Threads is all about hope. Watch how one NICU nurse is helping moms one page at a time.
This nurse wrote a book to encourage families of preemie babies. Nurse practitioner Elisa Vitch wrote Small But Mighty, a children's book about a baby in the NICU.
Whether you're in the NICU for 6 hours or 6 months, it's a really traumatic experience. I just felt very compelled to, share the struggle that I see with all the moms that I work with.
Moms can snuggle with their babies and read them the book. It can help empower them during a frightening time.
This book is literally like our life right now. And I think that if anybody has ever been touched by the NICU or has a child in the NICU, it is a must-have.
I think sometimes here, when it can be very busy, we get very caught up in some of the tasks that we need to do, and I feel like it sort of drew me back to the reason I became a NICU nurse in the first place, and that's to, take care of these little patients and be there for their families as well.
God bless our nurses. We'll be right back.
So a secret my dad doesn't know is I told him that I was dating my boyfriend at the time for 3 months before we moved in, but really it was 3 weeks. But now we're married. Hashtag doesn't matter.
Hi DBL Nation, Agent R here with your report on the new Men in Black International. So, is it worth seeing, or will you make me want to erase your memory? Well, the answer is no, not really. It's not spectacular, but it's still a good fun time. Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson do make the movie fun, and there is some good moments, but it's not the same magic as the original. This was made for a new generation to see, so you're not going to see any callbacks or unfortunate cameos from the originals. This is really its own standalone movie with kind of callbacks to the general plot, but not any actual players in it. So that said, if you were looking for that, you're not going to get that. But if you have kids and this is their first time seeing Men in Black, I think they're gonna like it. They're gonna like the little creatures. It's their first time seeing a whole new set of aliens for them to go and love like we did. So I would say give it a chance if you have kids. Now, if you're going for the nostalgia, I think you might be a little bit disappointed because, like I said, it is its own movie with its own jokes, and Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson kind of have their own movie together, Thor Ragnarok, and sometimes you get those moments and that chemistry that they had there, and you kind of forget that this is a new movie. It just feels like them in different outfits. But other than that, I would say I did laugh at some points, and there were some points that dragged on a little bit and there were plot holes. But overall, if you're just looking to have some mindless fun and you don't want to see a movie that's going to win an Oscar, because this isn't going to, I would say go see it. But I might be wrong. You might disagree with me. Let me know, and you can erase my memory next time.
DBL, we love sharing your comments. Tori.
So actually, a lot of comments about the Cuba Gooding Jr. story. A lot of people sort of mixed. So I wanted to read Raji Noah Wilkes, or Wilkes, excuse me. Yeah, I'm confused by their relationship. She seems very comfortable. If she withdrew consent and he kept going, then absolutely he was wrong. But it looks like he stopped as soon as she said no. I want to make it clear she did take his hand and push it back. So interesting, hard to kind of tell in the video.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great conversation. We will see you same time, same place Monday. Have a great Father's Day weekend.